Until the age of 21, I had never considered leaving the comforts of my home. It still seems crazy to me that I picked up and left on a whim to an unknown place, sadly leaving the friends and family I love so much behind. Moving for me, and most others, provides opportunity for reflection and growth. Reflection on one's life and growth of character, experiences, and, in my case, biceps and my lats. Joking, of course. I tell this story as it runs along parallel lines with the story of today's guest. However, although our story elements may be similar, there is a stark contrast in the details. Listen as Rene outlines his journey from Ghana to Korea and overcomes all obstacles that are put in front of him. With hard work, determination, persistence, and a little help from his friends.
You are now tuned into This Korean Life.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of This Korean Life. Today with us is angel investment superstar, former Eunice president, Rene Owusu Afram.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a pleasure.
Not the Eunice president, the Eunice Foreign International Student Council president.
That's the same.
Exactly.
That's the same
He's wielding some power.
I used to.
We're here early on a Sunday morning. We're supposed to start at 7, but Nate's on. What's the time? How did you refer to that?
Oh, that's GMT, Ghana time.
Ghana man time or Ghana mean time. Welcome.
But isn't that everywhere in the world?
Well,
I don't know if I've met a culture that's on time.
Koreans are always on time, I guess.
Really?
None.
You gotta marry a Korean then.
Oh, okay. We are working on that.
I know we used to say Ghana time, but here they say Korea time, and it seems everywhere you go they say that. What's the Chinese lady you referenced last time with the blue and the red contrasting cultures, east and west?
I think it's
because her thing says Asians are always late and Westerns people are always on time.
Yeah,
that's
but
not true.
No, definitely not.
I know even in I don't know if it was part of that blue and red pictures, but I think I read somewhere even in Europe, I was surprised to learn that if someone invited you over for a dinner party,
yeah,
and you showed up early or on time, that would be viewed as rude because you should expect that they're not ready on time, and you should give them that extra 10 or 15 minutes grace period.
Well, I was just waiting in the parking lot. I just didn't want Rene to be the only guy late.
Okay.
So I was gonna send you a message and ask you, is he there yet? I don't want him to be alone on the Ghana man time.
Yeah. This is the
Sadly, I had to wait here for you.
the most respectful entrance ever goes to Rene.
Oh.
Excuse me. Can I come in now? No, wait in the hall till we're ready to record. Anyways, welcome.
Thank you very much, sir.
So how long have you been here now?
5 years and counting. Yeah.
Wow.
Last summer was exactly 5 years I've been here. 5 short but very eventful years, and now Korea pretty much feels like home.
Really?
To be honest, yes. So.
And pretty successful in 5 years. Lots of accomplishments.
Thank you. Thank you. I remember I've been home 2 times, and each time I felt like I'm visiting another country, which is very funny.
Really?
Yeah, because
I thought that was only us.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know when the turning point is. How long you have to stay somewhere before home feels not like home.
Exactly.
And we've been abroad for so long that we always feel that going home, and it comes up all the time. But 5 years doesn't seem like that long, and this is probably a lot more different from your home and your culture than.
Exactly.
I mean, it's very different from ours, but Ghana is pretty homogeneous in some ways.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're from a very multicultural place, so I mean, this is much more different for you probably than us.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm a little surprised to hear that.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, I don't know what influenced me in my growth a lot, but I didn't really identify with anybody much back home, to be honest. The culture was just weird. I developed an OCD against so many things back there, and then I feel like when I got in Korea, so many things did click for me that I felt like I don't feel like a Korean, Let me clarify that. But I feel like the system works and it calms my
don't-
OCD.
Don't try to tell them you're half Korean.
No, I'm not.
They'll never believe you.
No, I'm not. And I don't even think the society is gonna accept me as one anyways. So I wouldn't sweat it.
I wonder if it's Korean society or just that time in your life when
Mm.
you came at what age? 20?
I came at
21?
19.
At 19?
Yeah.
Shit, that's young. I came at 22, and that was kind of not, I don't want to say an enlightening experience, but just I think it was that time in my life when it was just
How old? 22?
22.
But he never left Niagara Falls.
Wow.
Like he'd never been outside Niagara Falls, man. Not even Toronto.
Whoa.
Man, yeah.
Same.
So-
Actually, I've never been out of my city. And then next thing I was in Korea.
Yeah. My first airplane flight was I visited a friend in Victoria, near Vancouver, and then next I jumped. I was there for a week or so, and then I came over here.
Yeah.
Wild.
And I finished my stint in West Africa before I had come here. So I was looking, I was craving, I was like, wow, I don't want to go home. That's boring. There's so much cool stuff out there. I want to keep going. And
Right.
I developed that mentality that every country was like a classroom in the university, and I wanted to study every subject, and I want to go and you like some, you don't like some, but I wanted to go and see what every class was all about, and I just wanted to keep traveling and adventure.
I felt really trapped kind of in my city. I felt like it was kind of coming in on me, and I don't know, I didn't want to escape from everyone, but it felt like I needed to go somewhere to kind of, like a butterfly, man.
Typical Southern Ontario. Don't leave anywhere. The world revolves around Toronto and surrounding area.
Wow.
Everything there.
19.
Yeah, 19.
Whew.
Yeah.
That's a huge, I don't want to say risk, but that's a huge decision.
Yeah. Actually, I made that decision, shall I say, at the age of 13 to leave Ghana.
13?
13.
No.
So I was going to high school, and then I remember the day my dad dropped me off, and I was like, Dad, I don't think I want to study here in Ghana. I want to move. And I think this is my last level I'm going to study here. And he was like, oh, whatever you do, I support you. Don't worry, just
I'm going to Korea. Bullshit.
So I graduated high school at 17, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to the university.
Is that quicker than most kids? 17? I think we finished
very early, yeah.
We finished 17.
High school?
You go to safe grad in Manitoba, you go to safe grad. Some guys can drink and some can't because they're not old enough. That's why they made safe grad. Graduation's usually June, so if your birthday is the second half of the year, you're still 17.
Oh, right.
But I
graduated.
Sorry.
I
Yeah, you
graduated
graduated in
18.
June. And you can start college at 17, so you can not drink for your first semester at college. Yeah, that's
You
normal.
start drinking at 19, not 18.
On Manitoba, it's 18.
Really?
See, you gotta leave. you gotta leave, man. Every province, it's 18, 19, 18, 19, 18, 19. Yes.
Okay.
So, anyways,
What? Really? It goes.
yes,
every
from
other province?
BC, every province to Ontario. I don't know what the East Coast is, but yeah.
Huh. Look at that. There's something over there.
You gotta
There's
go back,
something
bro.
So, where are you from? Are you from Accra?
No, I'm from Quail. It's in a little bit the middle belt. In the eastern
Middle
region.
belt.
Yeah, in the middle belt. I'll call that.
Listen, it's Kumasi,
Okay,
Accra,
very
Tema,
close to-
or
Very
Takoradi.
close to Kumasi. It's about an hour drive from Kumasi.
Okay.
But I've never been there. That's
Really?
yeah. My parents moved to the capital. They had me there, and I've been there since I was born. And then next stop, Korea.
So you're from somewhere around Kumasi, and you moved to Accra?
No, my parents are from there. So you are from where your parents come from, not where you're born.
Where are you from? I'm from
Oh,
Kumasi.
whoa, yeah. I was trying to figure that out.
Yeah, you are where your parents come from, the tribe they belong to.
I didn't ask about your parents.
Yeah, but
This is how it works, right?
If you ask me, I would say I'm a citizen of the world. I don't really identify as
Good.
Indian.
But just for me, for reference, having lived there,
Right.
you're from Accra,
Yeah, then you can say I'm from the
and your
country.
family. What do you say? Your family's tribe
Yeah,
is from
the middle belt.
the Middle Belt. Sounds like the Rust Belt or something, or the Midwest,
Oh,
or
wow.
the Middle Belt.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
But
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
your instinct to respond to that question, where are you from in Ghana, with
Yeah.
where your parents are from?
Yeah.
Even though you've never been there?
Never been there. Never seen anybody. I was actually pretty shielded from my big family, my extended family, for spiritual reasons. For the black magic phenomenon. I'm sure Nate is very familiar with that.
The juju special.
Yeah, the juju special. So pretty shielded. I don't even know 10 family members offhand.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
10 family members of what?
offhand. Like I
Oh.
cannot even know their names.
Okay,
or,
but being a global citizen,
yeah.
sitting with two global citizens, when we say where are you from in Canada,
hmm
I wouldn't never say where my parents are from.
Mm.
So being the global citizen, how do you think we would perceive your end? Like I say, okay, Kumasi, but I've never been there. Well, you just said you're from there.
Yeah,
How is that instinct still built into you?
I think it's a cultural thing. I think the way we understand that you're descended from the bloodline. So you're from where your blood, the source of your bloodline. Let me put it that way.
Huh.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty much
That would go just back to your parents. It wouldn't be
exactly parents and grandparents. So they also identify um coming from the place their parents came from, which is goes back into the line. Yeah. So my dad pretty much lived in the capital most of his life, I would say. I think in the early years he was back in my hometown, but 20 years he moved to the capital and he has stayed there forever. So
Is there a big generation gap between you and your dad?
huge,
Yeah.
a giant leap, I'm telling you.
Because I would imagine, I don't know how fast it's developed, but I mean,
Uh,
even between me and my dad, technologically, he
Yeah.
doesn't want to use a tablet or anything like that.
Right,
What
right.
about between you and your
But that depends also, right?
what?
Because I look at the gap between my in-laws here and my parents, where
Mhm.
my parents live with machines, and
Right.
and I think part of that is because we have a huge family spread out all over Canada, and if we didn't have that, I mean, they would still be writing letters, but they take advantage of having iPads or whatever else, and now with the grandkids, they can talk to everybody, so they're very well connected. But my mother-in-law, she wouldn't even know how to turn a computer on.
That's
I would
Yeah.
be safe to bet she's never used a computer, where my dad worked on a computer his whole life. So in that way, I think. But I don't know what was Bry doing before. He was pounding grapes or something.
Who?
Making wine. You're dead. Or not? Sorry, not Bry. Gino. He was
Work?
Yeah.
Yeah, worked at the winery.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But no, there's no need for iPads or any form of technology to do that. But he just refuses to jump in.
So there's a little context to the gap in that back in Africa, knowledge goes from the top down, not the down up.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? My dad will never gonna sit down and let me lecture him about how to use a phone because he knows everything. You know what I mean? And then they are very stuck in their own ways. They
Stubborn.
very stubborn,
Traditional.
conservative.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So yeah, he believes you know, one day he told me, hey, don't marry a well educated woman. She's gonna talk back to you. And I was like, yo, I need her to talk back to me. Because yeah, she has a brain too. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, they are very stuck in their own ways, but the heart is bigger than everything. You know they love you, you know they care for you, you know they have their best interests, even though sometimes it's quite detrimental in that sense. So, yeah.
What did your father do, or what does he do?
He's a businessman. So funny
Oh
thing,
God,
our
that
tribe
means selling bush meat, or there's all kinds of
car parts, everything, pretty much. So our tribe is known for business. So funny, when I started studying science, my dad was like, "Wait for it, it's coming, it's gonna hit you." So yeah, he's been a businessman. I cannot tell you exactly what he does because it's almost what the market is demanding. What is changing? What is
But
being
he's in import export, or
import, export,
Or
supply,
Vandalay.
demand, anything he can make money off, he will make money off. Yeah.
Huh.
So
Awesome.
okay. So I got a question then.
yes,
Because he said, "What? Don't marry a well-kitted woman."
well educated.
Well
Well-educated
educated.
women.
Yeah.
Okay. But when I was there, and maybe I was in the Western region, but the women ran the show.
Yeah.
I saw lots of the men
That's-
as I
That's
saw
the
lots
problem.
I saw lots of the men as lazy and
Yes.
unmotivated, and like you never see A Million Ways to Sleep like you would in Ghana. On the
Right.
bench, upside down on the bench,
We sleep
in a
like
tree,
cats.
on the
Cats.
floor. You've never seen how many places you could just walk by in the middle of the day and go, that guy's got a great life. He's just sleeping on the side of a curb, and
Yeah.
he's not homeless or anything. It's just it's so relaxed and so.
Exactly.
This is the Ghana man time.
Right.
It's just so. Hey, you told me you had a meeting at 2. It's 2:30. I'm gonna leave in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You're just sitting on the curb. It's okay, man. It's okay.
Just relax. What's
So,
the rush?
But the women were always working hard. They were always busting, and the merchants and at the markets, it's all the
It's
women
all women.
working hard and making the money. And I never saw a lot of guys working hard. And at the same time, there wasn't a lot of men in suits making big bucks. Okay, in the big city,
Yeah.
you'll have some of those guys, which your father might be a part of. But in the rest of society,
Yeah.
it seems like it's the women running the show, working hard, making money, making things happen.
Yeah.
How do you speak to that?
So, it's very interesting. It's a very great observation, actually, because in a very micro environment as my family, the women run it. My dad is all mouthy, but it's the women that run it. You know what I mean? And our society really, we put women in a very high pedestal, actually, such that it backfires in a way that, yes, it does, because I think that it makes the women over dependent on guys in some way. So let me just break this down. So back home, my dad taught us the 3 P's: you protect, you provide, and you profess. Right? So you make sure you got your sisters back. You make sure you take care of them, whatever they need, and it even grows into my friends. When I take like a girl out for a date, she doesn't even have to be my girlfriend. I take care of everything. If I don't, I'm an asshole. That kind of thing. So we go at the women's pace. Even when you look at our system of inheritance, even the royal blood, you inherit from your mother's side, not your father's side.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
It's a matrilineal kind of system in all most of our tribes. So women kind of run the show, but the men are more like the mouthy guys and then that kind of thing. So it's a very interesting observation.
That's a,
Actually,
I,
yeah.
it's an
I, I
interesting
think
dynamic.
I think I mean, let's be honest. The women always run the show,
Everywhere.
but you know what I mean. It's different. And when you go to Thailand or some Southeast Asian countries, you see that women have like the breadwinning role.
Yeah.
Women are in charge. And then when you come to Korea, I mean, it's mostly the men who are the breadwinners.
Right.
But the women still control the household and all the finances and
Right.
everything else. But I just mean in Ghana, it's like, yeah, the women are doing most.
The
I don't mean in other countries they don't, but that the men aren't the main breadwinners, and that the men aren't seen as the hard workers or whatever, and they're not putting in the hours and the time. But
right.
man, the women have someone on a baby on their back, a
Back.
baby on the front. They're selling at the
Pounding
market. They're
fufu.
and I mean they're doing everything. And yeah, I think you see when traveling the world that women don't have the same role and all. And when we talk about the
Right.
conservative role of the women and stuff, it's very different in many different parts.
Right.
And yeah, I just thought if I want to take it easy and relax in life, I'm going back to Ghana, man. Because you can just go lay in a hammock, and I'm like,
Bench naps.
dude,
Yeah.
how do you eat? Where do you get your clothes from? What do you do? And he's like,
Right,
my
right.
wife's working hard.
Yes, if I would describe it, I'll say they hold everything together. Kind of. Back home, if mom is not around, yo, nothing works. Like everything just falls apart. And then so rightfully so, we do celebrate women very much highly than men in that sense. So yeah.
Cool. Do you think the Korean guys could work so hard if they didn't have the wife at home to support them? Isn't it almost an equal balance? The harder the guys, or they couldn't do that if their wife wasn't at home holding it down, no?
They couldn't what?
Raising kids. They couldn't put all those hours in and still have a family.
But I find individual performance here is squashed, and it's not valued, so it doesn't push anyone to perform higher because there's no reward for it. You got to wait till you turn a year older before you can.
Right.
The
right.
prerequisite for your promotion is being a certain age, or
Yeah, right. In our company, no, it's individual performance. Even I have a friend there. He's 25. He's like a quadrant. He's like a manager based on his performance. You know,
Good.
I also know another person who was promoted within 3 months of joining the company. So it's just purely based
It's a
on performance.
meritocracy.
Yes,
Yeah.
in that sense. So
Not good for old guys.
yeah,
Complacent
the old
old
guys
guys.
really suffer.
But
Hey, how come my boss is 23? This is Korea, don't you know?
But if someone, I think that it should be a meritocracy. To run it any other way would be crazy. If you're crushing, why not? Why shouldn't you be the
That's
manager?
why
I'm
Regardless of where it's at.
100% agree, but
Yeah.
here we live in a place that is probably the polar opposite of that. In that, yeah, it doesn't happen like that. So, yeah, maybe this is the time that it starts really changing.
Yeah.
Old guys stifling growth.
Okay, we'll get back to some of that company and some of the present stuff. Take us back a little bit to
Ghana?
you said 13.
Yes.
At 13 you knew. So you were in Accra and dad brought you to high school. I'm guessing this is a private school somewhere?
No, it's a public school.
Were you boarded or no?
Yeah, boarded. I stayed in the boarding house. Pretty much it was in the center of the city, so I could go home at any time. Actually, yeah, but I was in the boarding house.
So why do you think, or how did you know, or why at 13, how did you know that would be your last thing, or why did you?
Yeah, that was it. It's very interesting because when I look back, I don't understand what drove my thought. Maybe it's just destiny, I would say, because there was this energy that made me feel out of place. It's like I couldn't understand anything. I couldn't. I felt like studying was a waste of time. I felt like it couldn't challenge me in a way that I could grow. I felt like I needed a new experience, that kind of thing. So I really, really um I would describe my academic life in high school as like I didn't learn anything. I just accumulated experience and built relationships that are still valuable today. You understand
But
what I
that's
mean?
a crucial foundation.
Exactly. I didn't learn nothing, to be honest. Even I remember my biology teacher showed up in class 2 times in 4 years.
Your what?
Your biology teacher showed up twice.
Two
in
times
a
in 4 years.
But you learned about life. You learned about
Right.
responsibility. You learned about connections. You learned about teamwork. You learned about.
That's what Elder High School is for.
Right.
That's
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I learned many things, but I don't know what I remember today. But what I did learn is what has provided the foundation to take the next step. It's just a stepping stone, right?
Exactly.
But did you like being in Accra? Did you see lots of foreigners or something that intrigued you about the outside world, or were you watching Western TV shows or something that made you think there's a different place than this that I don't? I'm more intrigued by that than by staying in this classroom or staying here.
Not really, Nate. Not really. The very early, shall I say, Wagugin experience I had was I did intern in the U.S. Embassy when I graduated high school, not when I was in high school. But we did have a few visits from some U.S. colleges because my high school was one of the best in the country, so they just come and scout, some talents and whatnot. But that didn't influence me in any way, to be honest, Nate. So, shall I say, I had that feeling, that urge to move, and then after high school, I explored that. That would be a best description of I never had any influence or whatnot, anything. Yeah.
So how would we fix that problem at home? This is too boring. I'm not learning anything. It's too easy. What would you do?
For my kid?
No, but I mean, how would it be treated in our culture? Okay, you're not challenged. Okay, you skip a grade. Now you're challenged.
All right.
This is still easy. Okay, you're a genius. Skip another grade.
Supplement.
Challenge. But it's not. Oh, I'm gonna go to some random Asian country. Like that's not how you deal with. It wasn't challenging enough. Okay, so they would you'd put you in the genius stream or something, and you would feel challenged.
So one thing I learned when I got to Korea is that in Korea the culture values human resource. When I look at in history the people they celebrate poets, they celebrate politicians, great historian, knowledgeable people, and even their caste system has the Yangban. Am I right? Yangban, the learned people who are above the common people in that kind of. In Ghana, is the opposite. Who has the money is the one who has the respect.
And the casket dancers.
All right. Yeah, so I'm saying this because we don't have any system that's picks these genius students and utilize them. The government just sits there and then foreign entities just come and plug them out. And that's what happens all the time. So I actually skipped 2 grades when I was in elementary school. Still, it's just nothing interesting. This is an old system.
But then did you go back 2 grades because you still graduated at 17?
So I took a gap year, actually, a couple of gap years.
In elementary school?
Before high school and then
Backpacking in Thailand.
I've heard of the gap year between high school and uni, but not in elementary. Mama, can I take a gap year in grade 3?
Before I went to high school, I took a gap year because they said I was too young. I was about 11.
So hold on, what? Yeah,
To go to high school?
Yeah, so I had to wait until I was.
I'm interested in this because I felt in my life my biggest growth was after getting married when I took maybe 6 months off of work. Well, I worked here and there, but very, very minimal work for 6 months. It gave me until then it was school, study,
Right.
work. And for the first time in my life at 26, it was like, oh my God. And then you start imagining things or seeing what's interesting to you. You watch a TED talk and then you dive deeper into that and
Right.
really find what you're interested in. What were you doing in your gap year? Was that a time of personal growth and development?
I was exploring the meaningful gap year was the one after high school.
No, okay.
I was exploring. I had a little fallout with my dad because after high school I got into medical school in Ghana at the age of 17, and then I knew that when I told him he would make me go, so I didn't tell him. And then the enrollment deadline passed, and he heard about it, and the dude wanted to kill me. So I had to move out of the house and live somewhere. And that's it. So at that time, I was left alone in this world, knowing that hey, my dad is against you in some way. So I had to begin to understand that hey, what do you want to do? Because you made this decision, you have to do something good out of it. Yeah. So that's when I did an internship at the U.S. Embassy, just to meet different people, different high school students from Ghana, and then different people from the U.S. admission officers, and even I got to meet the ambassador sometimes, that kind of thing. So
one thing too, living here, you mentioned about you made your decision and now you gotta kind of make it work, right?
yeah, right.
And that's being here and having no family or nothing to fall back on.
Right.
That's motivation in itself. Like
Right.
I don't want to go home with my tail between my legs. Like, ooh.
We just talked about it with Ashley last week.
Yeah.
You really want to
Take off the training wheels and get her going.
Yeah, and it's really sink or swim once you do
But-
something like that.
But in a year off at 11, I mean, what you can't
I
just
just
run around
did
the
a-
house all day. Like who
I
takes?
just stayed at home and did business with my dad, pretty much.
See, but that I mean, it's crazy to think that a mom here goes bananas if their kid misses one day of Hagwon or CDIs open on
Right.
Christmas. Kids got to go do their tests on Christmas. Like that's insane. You took a whole year off and are, I would say, more successful than 99.9%.
It is insane from our perspective.
Is
But
it?
being Korean and coming through the evolution and the development of Korea, how it has, and how it evolved within however many years from a third world to a first world nation, it's not. This is how they got here.
Yeah, right.
They worked their asses off for how many years with no vacation, no break, no anything, and then that just transferred into education, and now that's how they perceive their education, and now it's going to start changing again, where education is going to take less of a focus, and it's going to become other things.
I think a gap year would do a lot of people good here, to be honest.
I think everywhere in the world. What was the? I used to compare the Korean military service,
Right.
and when they ask you, what do you think about the Korean mandatory military service? It used to be
2.5 years.
2.5, and now it's down to 18 months or something. But I thought for a lot of these guys, I think it's what a waste. I used to think what a waste of time. But for the Korean guys who've only known school, I think it's a great experience, and it's a time to grow and mature. But what I liked more was because when I traveled lots, Israel has it. When I was in Myanmar, they have the mandatory. You have to I forget what it's called, but you have to try and become a Buddhist monk at least twice in your life. Once in elementary school, once in high school.
Wow.
So all the girls, all the boys, heads shaved at least twice in your life. And the one in elementary school is kind of like a retreat maybe for like a week or something. But when you get to high school, you have to do it for an extended period of time. And I thought, okay, that might be enlightening. That might, change a lot of people's lives.
Right.
But and I don't know if the German system is still like it, but they changed their military service, I believe, into
After World War II.
into a volunteer system.
Yeah.
Where you have to volunteer for at least 1 year
Mhm.
in a social service area, either helping the elderly or handicaps or in a school or whatever. And I thought, what an awesome system that
Right.
if you said after high school, everybody's got to volunteer for a year. You can choose where you want to volunteer, but you have to volunteer for a year
Mhm.
in these 100 different areas.
Mm.
And you're not making money, you're giving back. It
Right.
creates a very healthy society. It connects people. And it probably opens a lot of people's eyes as to what they really want to do or where they want to go in life. And so, yeah, in many countries, we think mandatory military is crazy now, right? It's 2020. We don't need mandatory.
Mm.
But in Korea, I think it's still so good for these young
Yeah.
men to see that there's something other than just studying in school.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah, man. That's it. I mean, growing up working part-time jobs, that's your view into the real
Into
world.
the real world,
You're
yeah.
seeing adults working, and you're working side by side with them, and a lot of those soft skills. I don't know,
Yeah, right.
people skills and whatnot. You gotta
Negotiations and
you gotta develop that, man. That's an important.
and that's a typical small city, big city comparison that the big city people have they're stuck up. Because they don't get out. Everything's there. They don't get out. They don't see that. And if when we say, oh, I'm from Northern Ontario, but I mean, we're not even they don't even consider us Ontario. But we would say, oh yeah, oh, you're from Toronto. Okay, fine. I get it. I know what you're like, and this is you. But I'm not like that because I'm not privileged, but I'm not around that much.
Right.
So we have to kind of mix and move and shake to get our experiences. Otherwise, we're going to be, so traditional. We're not effective in society. So yeah, I think that stereotype of, oh, you're from Paris, oh, you're from, because those people have, a certain style or a certain way of living,
Right.
and you have to get out. How many people from Seoul, like the foreigners that live in Seoul, never been
Yeah.
outside of Seoul in the
So,
area?
yeah.
And I mean, I'm saying that lightly, but everyone in Ulsan has been to Seoul,
Right.
and everyone in Ulsan has been all over the
Ulsan.
country.
Or something, yeah.
But so Ulsan, where's that? Come on, really? Ulsan's a big city, man.
Well, basically,
Yeah.
getting out and having that freedom definitely does lead to growth. Again, for being able to fall back on your family and
Right.
having that support system. When your dad was dropping you off at high school at 13, was that kind of your first feeling of like, oh shit, even though you were still in the city,
Right.
that first feeling of like, I'm kind of by myself. Like I gotta. Did
Yeah.
you have that feeling of like disconnectedness to the family, or did you still feel
Not
like
really.
I can just go home whenever I want?
Not really. How do we call this? My family was pretty blended. Call it a blended family. So I didn't
You
have.
got a gay uncle in the bed?
I had one crazy uncle. I would say that, but I had a stepmom, and all that, and causing a lot of problems. So I didn't feel anything really, to be honest. Yeah.
Hold on, I got a question. What is a blended family? Like,
He's got a white aunt.
A blended family is, you have a family, but you're not of the same blood kind of thing. And so I was living with my brother. He's my same mom, same dad.
Mm.
And then 4 step siblings, and then 2 cousins from a dead uncle that my father took on of himself.
Oh
So
wow,
it's a huge family,
It's like
but
the-
we are not.
Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, pretty cool.
But that's what a good. I mean, I had my brother to play with growing up, and sometimes you go meet your cousins. But that must have been an interesting household.
Very amazing.
Yeah.
Never a dull moment.
so when he asked that question, I thought you're going to say no. It wasn't that moment, because for me, I mean, when we think of independence and how much more mature Western children are than Korean children,
Yeah.
and Like we're making lemonade stands, cutting grass, shoveling snow, have our own money, buying our own stuff. I mean, within reason. Dad says if you want hockey skates, save your money. If you want new basketball shoes, I can't buy it for 5 kids. So if you want it, save your money.
Right.
And we think that we're so much more independent and grown up than the Korean kids.
Yeah.
But we're nothing compared to the Ghanaian kids. And again, it's going to be different in the big city. But
yeah.
but look at all my pictures from there. How many pictures I have of 6 and 7-year-old kids
Right.
carrying their baby sister, 1-year-old,
Right.
6-month-old, 3-month-old baby sister on their back because mom's working.
Right.
And they're walking around in their underwear. And I mean, I was in the far west, but they're walking around in their underwear and they got their kid on the back, like they got their baby sister on their back that's 6 months old.
Right.
And they know exactly how to change the whatever the cloth diapers or whatever
Yeah,
they
yeah.
use. They're 7 years old and they're like a mother already.
Right.
So dropping off at it for me, when I think of that question, I think he got dropped out of school. He was probably like a grown man by 11.
Kinda. So we are really taught like basic skill, cooking, cleaning, all those things. By 3, 4, you should get your stuff together. And that's
Yeah, exactly.
Mommy should be able to leave you at home and you wouldn't kill yourself. You know whatever.
Yeah.
At 3, 4,
Not gonna burn
and
the
5,
house
yeah,
down.
that kind of thing. So yeah, I could take care of myself. I just needed money and food, and I'm good. You know?
Dad, I need $50 today.
We're so coddled at home, and you can't.
But this is what I said. The perspective of me reflecting on kids in my country compared to Korea or Western children compared to
Yeah.
here. But then going there is a whole nother level and
It's a
thinking,
whole-
how come kids at home don't know how to cook at 4 years old and they're worried about burning themselves or burning the house down?
No.
That's not a problem here. I mean, every kid knows how to do it.
I made a
right?
mean grilled cheese at 13.
Yeah, so I can say that right after high school, I didn't have to depend on my parents anymore. That's crazy.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was after university for me. That was like oh no, I don't have my dad's benefit package anymore. Like there's no dental package and shit.
Yeah.
And it was like, whoa, this is the first feeling. Same like,
Right.
whoa, I gotta start doing this by myself.
And okay, you went to the best school, so Dad was a business guy. But most of the country doesn't have that anyways, right? There is no
Yeah.
dental package for most countries.
No.
When we used to go to the market, the guy used to do dental repairs on the side of the street.
Oh.
And he would do them on the side of the road going into the market. He could fix you up, whatever. Just tell him where it hurts, and he'll fix you up.
Wow.
Fix your
And
shoes.
he would do it. He would do it on the side of the road.
Oh.
But it just depends what part of the country, city, world that you live in.
Right.
Dude, give us some family stories. This sounds like a wicked.
blended family.
Yeah.
Is that typical?
No, not strange, but not typical.
Hmm.
We value family, so most families stick together. My parents separated when I was barely a baby, like 4 months.
Right.
Yeah, so I live with my dad, and he told me a funny, 2 years he apologized to me that, bro, I almost killed you. Because when you were about 4 months old, you were crying so much, so I gave you beer, and you pass out.
Yeah.
The big star started
Yeah.
early.
Yeah. So he
Good
gave
thing it
me-
wasn't appetizer.
No, it wasn't. It was just beer. So he got me really sick, and like the government wanted to separate us, that kind of thing. So he apologized to me. I was like, I don't even remember. So whatever.
That's
That
like
kind of-
that's like Brave New World. You know the
Yeah.
book? They dump a little alcohol and that kid comes out to be the king. That's awesome.
Yeah. So with my family, my dad remarried. I don't remember when. But it wasn't great to live with my stepmom. And then I had my brother. He was fantastic. He was like the rock.
Dwayne Johnson.
No.
Is he body slamming you?
He was one of the people growing up I depended on emotionally a lot, because he was kind of like the black sheep of the family, to be honest, but he actually held everything together because I was the loose cannon. I was the loose
You
cannon.
seem like the composed one. I don't know.
Actually, no.
Yeah.
I was the loose cannon. So
That
he
big
was-
star had a lasting effect.
I get, yeah, it's all my dad's fault. So he would come to the, hey, Rene, it's gonna be good. Don't worry about it. Let her have it, that kind of thing. So he kept us calm. We had 4 siblings. They were demons. Jesus. So it's more of like a Cinderella kind of story, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. But after high school, everything changed dramatically. I don't know why, but I think that my family background really toughened me up. at a very early stage. I
And
remember,
isn't that what it does? Like, I think if you look at a lot of successful people, you'll find they've had some major hardships that have really formed and
right,
become that driving force behind why they're so successful because they've had some major hardships.
right. But with my experience, I'm really grateful to God because it could have gone anyway. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And I'm the kind of person when I set my mind to something, it's very hard to bring me back.
Mm.
So for me to, I remember that turning moment. I was about 7, 8. Something happened. I was so traumatized, and I went under my bed and I cried for like an hour. And that's when I told myself, "That's it. It's me against the wall." That kind of thing. That
7
was,
or 8.
yeah. I'm never gonna let anybody see me cry ever again, and
Wow.
I'm gonna, yeah. So I had that crazy, and that's the last time I've cried. To be honest, I'm not saying that
Wow.
not crying. I mean, I wear my emotions on my sleeve
Mm.
and whatnot, but at that time I felt like crying was like weakness in that sense. So
Wow.
I had to toughen up and then
Toughen up at
take life
7
by
or
its
8.
balls.
Yeah.
Right?
No
That
doubt.
kind of thing. So I
Even
think that's when I started thinking about these crazy things. And probably now I'm now reflecting on everything and it's coming back to me because I never felt like I had a place in my family. So maybe that's what started everything
Mm.
for me to start exploring outside my sphere of contact, that kind of thing.
That's good
I
to
think,
know.
like you said, you only know the society that you're brought up in, but
Right.
I think that's why I really value travel so much to see other ways, other perspectives, other cultures, because then you're grateful and you're humble and you
Right.
appreciate what you have and what you. I'm really lucky that I was born where I was born and raised how I was raised, but man, I envy like I said that I think when Jesh was here that the perception of Africans still in at least in Canada, America probably is not one of positivity and success and whatever. But well, I was on the Ivorian border,
Mm.
and every kid there, and you said you haven't been to Kumasi, so I don't know if you've been there either. But
No.
every kid could speak French, and
Mhm.
they spoke French, English, Ewe, or not Ewe, Twi,
Yeah.
and Nzima.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're telling me that the Africans don't have money, they don't have this, they're all starving, they have AIDS. This is the perception that we get on TV or the stereotypes. And here I am. This kid's 8 years old and speaks 4 languages, no problem. And I'm like, who are we kidding here?
I
Right.
studied French for 6 years and probably can't make a
See, and
sentence.
then we get these guys and but this I mean like I like you say it hardens you
Yeah,
and
it
and
really
it
toughens you up.
and you know what's important in life.
Right.
And it's not just being coddled, it's just the grandioseness of being raised in the West where you have everything and you see everything and have
Right.
access. Not everybody, but you can see everything. So
Yeah.
you can dream that dream if you want, you can do that if you want, but
But at the same time, like, are you gonna think about raising your kids? You want to provide them with like the most comfortable
Good
thing,
question.
and that's the hard part for us because I know it's the my parents separating. I know it's the such hard work, man, from high
Mhm.
school until
Yeah.
still until now. I know that's what's made me who I am, the interviewer on this podcast. But without those hardships, and the irony is, like, growing up, I want to provide my kids with everything, and I don't want them to have those. I don't want to be.
it's one thing to provide them with everything, but do they have an understanding?
Right.
Because I think, and this is why I've traveled so much with my kids, that, and same with doing We Hope. Gina, it melts in my heart. She says, like, and she does it probably once every 3 or 4 months, and she says, Daddy, we don't play with this toy anymore. Can we give it to the kids who don't have any toys? And that's at the orphanage that she
Right.
knows. And when it's Christmas time, she'll say, can we make some boxes and bring it to the kids that don't have any parents? And I think it's that understanding that if you don't, it's one thing to give them everything,
Mm.
but if you don't have exposed experiences to these things, they have no idea.
Right.
When we go to the Philippines, when we're in Shanghai, when we're in these places, then I mean she's still young and Lena too, but I hope that they can remember these and I hope we can keep traveling so that they can understand that this is just how we live, but it's not how everyone lives and everyone values different things and you're extremely lucky to be in the
Right.
position you're in and don't forget it. that you got to remember everyone else and how they live,
Right.
and that I hope it inspires her to try and bring the other people up.
Right.
Because if you don't, and you have everything like you say, but you don't have the perspective or the experience or understanding, then you're just another one of the Western elite, right? Like,
you know, back home we have this. Is it back home? I think it's in the black community, like white people problems. You know, it's just
yeah,
laughing at white people, or in other words, privileged people who complain about very basic stuff. Oh my God, my vacation is in Hawaii. Like,
first
you know what I
first
mean?
world. It's always online as first world problems,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
First world problems, and that's why I think
The
you got to
Wi-Fi doesn't
travel.
reach my bedroom.
I know, right?
You got to travel to get perspective.
Exactly.
And when you see the kids carrying the water, that's not a joke. Carrying the water 100 meters,
used to
500
do that.
meters.
I used to do that, and I think that's why I'm short, because I was gravitating. I used to carry like huge pans and gallons of water just for somebody to just waste it. You know what I mean? So
Oh.
yeah, it was tough. It was tough, but yeah.
I remember driving, taking one of the what do they call tuk-tuk? Not there.
Tuk-tuk.
No, what's in Philippines?
Trotro.
The
Is it the minibus thing?
no, the motor,
The
whatever.
scoot, the little scooter taxi or whatever.
Yeah.
There was we were on our way back to the airport, and we were in one, and in front of us was another Korean family, and there's
Right.
just a kid, a little bit round on a phone. You know,
Oh, I hate that.
he's just looking at the phone, and it was such a funny, like, it was perfect timing, because I could see in my field of view, I could see this, you know, overweight kid just enjoying his phone, and just over here as we were passing, it was like we were going over a bridge, so there's water running underneath it, and there was these two long pieces of bamboo stretched
Right,
across.
right.
There were these two Filipino kids, like, I don't even know how they almost looked like Spider-Man. They were like
Oh.
climbing along it, but they must have been 6 or 7 years old and just like in such shape. And I went like, wow, the Korean kids probably
Yeah.
really feel like, oh, we're doing so much better. Look at those
Yeah.
poor kids. And the other like little Spider-Man kids cruising along these
But they're
bamboo
having
sticks,
the-
like totally in shape. Like
Right,
it was
right.
pretty. It was interesting to see the
The contrast.
the contrast. Yeah.
On our last trip, we both went to where Boracay right before the Corona, and we had gone with one of my wife's good friends. But my wife's good friend lives in the Lotte Kingdom Castle kind of type, typical Korean ajumma with the handbags and everything else. And we got there at like, part of going is because it's cheap, but getting cheap means you arrive at 1 a.m. and the airport is like an outdoor shed. I mean, it's not like.
Oh,
So
God.
it was pouring rain. The hotel's only like a kilometer and a half away. I would walk. With 6 bags, I would walk if I had to. Not a big deal. But anyways, it was pouring rain, and she didn't understand. My wife says, just let Nate do everything. He's a pro at this. He's done it for years. Just let him do it. And she's like, why don't we just take a taxi? And I was like, because you'll pay $20 for what should cost 20 cents. And you keep driving up the prices so that travel becomes unaffordable for others.
Right.
So she's watching me haggle. We get in these tuk-tuks. They're whatever, the mini motorcycles. Tricycles.
Yeah.
And it's pouring rain, and the guy flips down like a piece of cellophane as the windshield. And I was like, holy shit, man, this is awesome. And she's jammed in the back with her kid and her husband and a couple of bags and holding on for dear life. And we got there. They were drunk. I asked for a discount. These guys were drunk. But
the drivers or the
yes,
okay.
the tricycle drivers. But it's not a dirt road, but I mean, it's
From
1
the
a.m. There's no cars. We might die going off the road or hitting a cow.
You're right.
But I mean, it's minimal danger, and there's no other option to get there other than paying exorbitant amounts of money that would equate to like 3 days of our trip. And
$20. What he just said, exorbitant.
Right.
No, but hold on though. But $20 is it's all in relation to where you are. I mean, $20 is a lot of money.
Right.
That's like 2 months' salary for the guy.
Yeah.
Would you ever pay someone 2 months' salary to drive you a kilometer? Never.
No.
So yeah, it's perspective.
Right.
So we got there and she was like, "Oh my God, that was the craziest thing in my whole life."
Are you kidding me?
And Dina's like, "That's awesome. Let's do it again. This is what we do every time we come here." But this sheltered emo is
Right.
oh, my heart's still going. And I was like,
Oh my
but this
God.
is just how it is. And
Yeah.
now, if she went on her own with her husband and her kid, they would have taken the aircon van. They would have paid out the yin yang for it, and it never would have registered for them. Then they would never have that experience.
Right.
So another one on quick on perspective is my father was the chief of the Canadian Grain Commission.
Okay.
So he was fairly high up there, and he used to travel quite a bit, Europe and parts of Asia. But when he came to Ghana, and he's never told me, Big G, send me a message and tell me. I want to hear it. I'm sure that changed his life. It has to. Anybody going to Africa the first time, it has to change your life. But seeing my dad stuck in a trotro, we would buy extra seats. We would buy extra seats because we were so big. And first of all, they're like, why are the kings riding in the trotro? Because we were so big. But we're jammed in the back with people, chickens, goats, whatever. And this is a government employee who's on his phone and his thing all day long, every day. Every day, the office all day.
Wow.
And him going there and drinking Big Star 1 liter Big Star beers for 25 cents for breakfast because it was already 45 degrees. And I'm going, I got to take some pictures and set. It's too bad there was no Instagram or Facebook then because he probably would have got fired. But I was like, look at the boss now having beers for breakfast. And look at him jammed in like a sardine in this trotro riding down the highway. And I mean, I'm sure it changed him for the good forever because he'd never seen that kind of life before. And I loved it. I fed off it. I that's why that drives my adventure, my travel. It's so cool to see the cultures and places.
Do you think, how old was your dad when he went?
Would have been 2002. He's born in 50, so 52.
Do you think it's ever too late to start traveling?
Never. Get on it as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Never. Not at all. Absolutely not. I mean, think of our parents coming here. Another enlightening experience.
Yeah.
Them coming here. All of my family. When Gino came and we're sitting in the park having a beer, just reflecting on a sunny afternoon, and he's like, "But you don't work 8 hours a day every day." And Gino, it's 2:00. Let's have a beer in the park. I don't. This is how we live, man. This is how it goes here. But no, I mean, think of your buddies who've come and how. Holy shit! This place is crazy.
Or it was back then.
Yeah. Okay. So you went from the embassy. How did you end up here?
Yeah, so
Because they were scouting from the States.
yeah, I actually had a couple of offers from the state, but I had to pay about 19K dollars extra. I had a couple of scholarships, but it was just not and the living costs and everything. And at that time, I was by myself because I had a fallout with my dad earlier, so I had to make the money. So getting a full scholarship from Eunice was like my way out. You know what I mean? So I had a call from my friend, high school friend, Joseph. He came to Eunice earlier and he was like, "Hey bro, like just check it out." And I was like, "Korea? Korea? What are you talking about?" You know, that kind of thing. He asked me, I missed the first day. The second I just put in the application, whatever. And it came in and it got through. I still decided not to come. But at the end of the day, I needed the money, so I came. And that was the best decision in my life, to be honest.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Where did other guys that you went to school, I mean, apart from the money, was Korea the only, or Eunice the only place that offered you a full?
Right. Korea was the only place. In the US, I had a food tuition, but I had to pay living costs,
Right.
that kind of thing.
That's always the case, right?
Yeah.
Even guys from Canada going on hockey scholarships and stuff. You get a hockey scholarship, you get whatever, but it still costs you 10, 15, 20 grand a year.
Right.
Which is, in Canada, I don't know what it is now, but I mean, uni only costed, 3, 4, 5 grand a year to go in Canada. So I'm on a full hockey scholarship, but I got to still pay 10 grand.
Yeah. And in Ghana, like, for every dollar, you have to work 5. So
You have to work what?
5 times.
Right.
So $19,000 times 5. That was a lot of money. I didn't have it.
Right.
No doubt.
Close to 100K a month, though.
That's wild.
So you came here because financially it was
the
best decision.
Yeah. But in retrospect, that was the best decision to ever make because we underestimate this, but graduating college with no debt is one of the biggest things you can have in your life. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I did graduate college with no debt, and I'm so grateful for it. I don't.
Absolutely.
and there's not many people that can say that these days.
Exactly. I see so many foreign English teachers come here just to work and pay off debt. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm very grateful for that. I think it's one of the best decisions I made with my experience, what I've learned, the opportunities I got here.
Mm.
Definitely. It's not Hollywood, but yeah.
And I think one of the biggest ones was you becoming the UNIST student president. No, I don't know the exact title. What
Yeah.
made you want to apply for that?
Actually, I was, how do I describe it? I was the guy in the shadows, really. I think Nate will testify. Even
Smarty.
among the,
Smarty was running the show.
yeah, Smarty, we had very big personalities in the Ghanaian community, you know, to say the least. That kind of thing. But I had a friend, a Vietnamese friend. She was a girl. She wanted to run. And then I was like, yo, a girl, that'll be the first president. I truly support you. You should go for it.
And then you remembered what your dad said, like, don't let these ladies take O'Shea.
Oh! Yeah, I mean, I support her, but I'm not going to marry her, right? Exactly. So, yeah, so I was full. So we used to plan together and whatnot.
Mm.
And then one day she came to me. She was like, yo, she's not going to run anymore. She was crying and lashing out and whatnot. I was like, hey, what's going on? And she was like, the old president had his own favorite candidate at that time. So it's something we're planning around, and they were literally changing the rules and intimidating everybody, that kind of thing.
Oh.
So what the guy told him was like, "Oh, you're Vietnamese, and the Vietnamese community is very small, so nobody's gonna vote for you."
There would have only been maybe, I would say, less than 10 students
Exactly.
from Vietnam
At that
there.
time. Yeah. So when she told me that, I mean, he used a different word. I'm not gonna defame him or
Yeah.
anything, but to put it very politely. And I was like, what? So I began to think, who are these people who think they can do whatever they want? That's when it started.
Nice.
Because like it really it really pushed me the wrong way. So I started asking, and then I asked him, so the first thing I asked the president, where is the constitution? And he was like, constitution, what's that? And I was like,
Where's
what?
the Constitution?
I was like, what?
Who's this guy?
How are you guys operating this whole system with no constitution?
Mm.
So apparently there was a constitution way back in 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
That was just dumped somewhere. Nobody
Huh.
cared, and then the presidents were just doing whatever they want.
Huh.
So I was like, oh no, oh hell no.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit there for somebody to feel so entitled, like that kind of thing. So that's what drove me. And I wasn't really popular. I would say that I got a little bit of fame because I was black. I was the only black dude in the whole year group at that time. So everyone was like, who is that guy? You know, that kind of, I had that little thing going for me.
What year did you come?
2015 in the fall. So I was the only
So there
guy.
was already 7 or 8 guys here.
Ah, so you're
Yeah,
part of
yeah.
like the second cohort of Ghanaian.
There's
No,
a couple.
there-
There's a couple each
There,
year.
there
usually.
were a
Okay.
couple. Most at that time, some of them had graduated, some of them were seniors.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
that kind of
Oh,
thing.
cool.
Yeah. Usually, the elections, the freshmen, sophomores, they are the ones interested in those things.
Oh, okay.
Juniors afterwards, nobody cares. That kind of
They
thing.
start in the laboratory. They're busy.
Yeah,
They don't
that
really
kind
have time for all that.
Exactly. So that's when I started looking into it, and then I spoke to them, and they were like, "Hey," so it was at that time the candidate I ran against. The general consensus was like he was the next president.
Yeah.
Nobody thought like somebody and that year, to be honest, that was 2016. It was a weird election year because that's the year Trump
Yeah, I was just
won.
gonna say
And
you're the Eunice Trump is what you're saying.
Yeah.
This guy hasn't got a shot.
I
huh?
know, right? So I just so in Eunice we have the Central Asian students. They were the majority, but truthfully, it's not true. I got the list of international students, and yes, on paper they take the largest share, but cumulatively the minority groups, when we do come together, we are the largest share.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, that's the math, validates everything.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So when you think about the graduate school and all that,
Ah, okay, right.
yeah,
Because in undergrads, the Kazakhs and I believe the Uzbeks used to be huge
Huge.
numbers
yeah.
compared to other
Exactly.
nations.
So my strategy was to engage these groups, and then they had already given up.
Mm.
You know, they're like, oh yeah, these Kazakhs are gonna be presidents or whatever because they're gonna vote for their friends.
Mm.
So my strategy was to bring the little groups together to take a stance against that authoritarian.
Yeah.
But that's a difference.
Yeah.
You had a strategy. It wasn't just a popularity
Oh, no,
vote
it
based on,
wasn't.
hey guys, I'm from here and so are you, so I'm the best for you.
Even the Ghanaians were shocked.
You took it a little more serious than.
Yeah. They were like, this guy is just gonna. And to be honest, I didn't run because I wanted to be president. I was running because
I didn't want the other guy. Oop.
I hated the idea that these people could take power and do whatever they want. That was what really drove me. But on the flip side, if I did get the job, I would do my best. That was my mind. But my mindset was to take a stance,
Nice.
against that kind of thing. So yeah, that's what drove me to do that. And surprisingly, I won. I surprised myself.
What's your biggest takeaway from being the president?
From being the president, before I'll go there, I would say that a couple of my friends were so wonderful to even help me get there. And throughout my stay as president, they were amazing. Talking about Lois, do you know Lois, the Vietnamese girl?
Yeah.
Ilfan, Pamu, oh God, they did what they did because they personally loved me. Let me just put it that way. And it was crazy. And I didn't even do anything to deserve that. So
But I think this is a Ghanaian trait. The Ghanaian people are so welcoming and open and friendly and
yeah.
always the big smile and so approachable. And I think it's just a huge. And every country says, "Oh, these people are so nice, or the best in the world." But and I'm probably also biased because I live there. But man, coming from where I come from, where people have everything, like we talked about before,
Yeah.
and going there where there wasn't people that had everything, but the best, most happiest people that I've ever been around, and that just that feeling that you can connect as a person, you can connect, and I think that's what you guys bring to the table. Jesh is the same, and that's how you can attract a lot of people. You're so approachable, and I just want to say I remember that election and thinking that this guy thinks this is like a real president election or something. Like he's so serious. The other guys are jokes. If it was based on who's running the best campaign, he would win. But there's a lot of Kazakhs here. I don't know if he can defeat those guys. But he's way too serious. Like, this isn't how this election's run the last 4 years. It was just kind of like who's popular and who has the most country mates.
So dramatic. So dramatic.
I remember seeing him going, this guy's like the real deal. He's taking, which it should be.
Yeah.
I think of student councils at home. The president of University of Manitoba ended up being an MLA and getting into a member of parliament and ended up running for the whole province.
Right.
And it should be serious, but it wasn't.
It wasn't.
And I think you remade it that. I don't know what it's like now, but
it's
regressed.
Regressed back to. But my greatest takeaway, like you mentioned, I took it too seriously.
Nothing wrong with that. Why do something half-assed?
That is my MO. You remember earlier when I set my mind to something, it's so bad. So bad that I didn't take care of myself. I got so sick, stayed in the hospital for a week. No food, no water. I didn't even know what's wrong with me because the Koreans couldn't tell me. But like on the hospital bed, that's when I began to ask, why am I doing this? Because the people I'm actually serving, they didn't care. Once you didn't get them the free pizza and free Coke, they don't care. They think you're a crazy president. That kind of thing. So I took it way too seriously. So when I got into office, the first thing I did, I set up a committee. We reviewed the constitution, and then we enforced it. You're laughing. We enforced it. There were so many issues on the ground, and at that time, the international student scholarship was up in the air. The school wanted to cancel it in that time, so I had to step in. And then our budget hadn't increased for over like 3-4 years, whilst international student numbers were going up. So like the budgets were tight, but the presidents, this is how they solved it. They're like, oh, we are just gonna save the money and do a big party at the end of the year so that everybody thinks I was the good president.
Yeah.
And then the budget issue is the next president's problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the system was just so, and then the office, people used to sleep there as a dormitory and all that. Kids used to have sex over there and all that, some crazy stuff. It was dirt. It was like a brothel.
Yeah.
Man, I could show you a picture when I renovated the place. It was
that
crazy.
shocked me when we went for dinner there a
did?
while back, and you told me that. No, when you told me that a while back when we were at dinner.
Oh yeah,
That he used to
about
be.
this. Oh Jesus. So
That's
what I used to do every week, I changed the code to the office.
Oh,
And people were mad at me, like, why don't you allow us to do that stuff there? And I'm like, yo, it's an office. Are you kidding me?
It's my office. It's my office.
Yeah. So I took it way too seriously.
Because the dorms have very strict rules.
Right.
And I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere. There's not a lot to do around there.
Right, I understand,
But just for people who think, I mean, you think of college life back home, I mean, that's par for the course. Or you have a million options, but there's not a lot of options out there.
Right.
And whatever, someone saw it as an opportunity. So
And to be fair, the Korean student clubs, they also have little offices. They do their stuff there. So I wouldn't say the international students are like dirty or something. Like, it was just what it is. And that kind of thing. So,
but if someone did get in trouble for doing that, I mean, the blame or the problem's going to come back to you.
Come back to me. So one day,
else.
funny you mentioned that, because one day I got a call from the dorm office, and then there were like CCTV videos of students sneaking girls into their dorms. Like, actually, it was girls sneaking their boyfriends, and it's so funny. Like, if you're gonna do it well. You know, wear some wig, wear hoodies, something crazy. Like, make some fake boobs or something. They just walk in straight out into the girls' dorms, you know. And then the dorm officer like, do you know this guy? And I have to protect them. Sorry, it's bad leadership, but I had to protect them because if I get them out, I'm the snitch president and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I have to protect, and then I will message these guys like, guys, I saw you. Please don't do that again. And next thing, yeah, they did it again.
Jesher, you're the only guy with 27-inch 27-inch biceps.
I know, right? So yeah, it was a hellhole, place to be. I was handling the Model United Nations team, and then we organized our first conference. It was so much work, so my body broke down, and then I had so much anxiety. Every time I slept, I felt like I'm not doing something.
Oh man,
You know what I
still
mean?
got that, yeah.
So much anxiety. I couldn't sleep. I was always thinking about what next to do for these people who probably don't care.
So do you envy the Korean work style there?
Yeah, it's
But
yeah.
that you've come from that now. Do you think it's good that you did push your body that far? Now you know kind of your limits. I feel that
wasn't my limit, to be honest.
Yeah.
That wasn't my limit.
in the hospital, because
It wasn't my limit.
Oh, okay.
That what that experience taught me was like, I cannot take one part of my life and push and leave the rest behind. So as much as I'm trying to engage in so many things, my health, my happiness, my relationships, and everything, I have to take everything along.
They're all interconnected.
Exactly.
You got to balance.
Yeah. So
That's what I said when I sent you the message. I said, "How's work going?" Blah, blah, blah. I said, "Work-life balance, man. It's the most important thing.
It's the most important thing.
You gotta have balance."
Yeah. So even now I'm working, I do take care of myself. I do go out, have some fun, blow up some steam, and that kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah. So
Any advice you'd have for future? What is it? WISO? UISO.
Yeah,
Did I say
president.
US?
So,
Anyone aspiring or anyone who might consider to be a student council president somewhere and anywhere?
anywhere. Eunice first, especially because Eunice is a special case. Yeah.
But I think it must
yeah.
be similar to other places like Heist or some of their schools where no.
I really doubt that. The culture was very strange. Very strange. So just a little story. It is this bad. So at that time, I told you the scholarship was in the air. The school wanted to cancel it because the goal of that scholarship was actually to attract international students. But now they have enough, right? So they were like, let's just cancel it. Let's just give them the free tuition, no stipends. And I was like, you're gonna cripple so many people with this. So we kept negotiation. They were like, okay, we are going to do half money, half food. And I was like, you're dealing with Muslims. They have special dietary needs. Why don't you just give them the money so that they are responsible for what they eat?
Right.
If you try to provide food for them and there's a little mistake, a religious thing is a crazy thing. We have crazy people who do crazy stuff for their God. You know what I mean? the school was so the last straw was like, okay, let's hold a town council style meeting. Every student to come, let's just hear what they have to say. So they were like, okay, good. If the general consensus is we want the money, we will accept that. So I put up the post. Everybody, please come. It's very important. The future of international students are on the line. Show up and let's talk about it. In the comment section, is the free pizza? Can you make sure the pizza is halal? What? And I was like, no pizza. So actually, I was given money to provide pizza. I got so pissed. I was like, no pizza. I'm not gonna provide food. If these guys don't think this is important, then no scholarship. Then you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So jokes on me. I called the meeting. I had the academic dean, the unit's vice president was there. 2 students showed up. 2 out of 400, and the 2 I was one of the 2.
Oh no.
So I was so embarrassed. I was so hard, and I told him that I'm so sorry. I did my job. Do whatever you want, whatever you think is right, because these people don't even care.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that there was an event at English Commons where they were having the free food, and everybody was there having a fun time.
Yeah.
So recently, I saw a guy post a meal on UISO saying that
Dry as
my
the Sahara
God.
Desert.
And I was like, word? It's dry? It's dry now? You know what I mean? So it's so sad. It's so sad. That so the little advice I'll give to know your people. Give them their food.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. But I would say that a president who will be able to change the culture will be the most successful president in UISO history, I would say. And every president, wherever any student, I would say student because I mean big politics is different, but if you don't care, don't do it. You know what I mean? If if you're doing it for your resume or whatever, don't do it. It's gonna kill. It's not worth it, to be honest. And then just use that opportunity to develop yourself because it's serious, but it ain't that serious. It is opportunity where you can make an impact in that society and also develop yourself because at that time you're young and you are learning. You're not perfect, so it's a more take it as a learning experience rather than too serious like I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you get in bad situations like having 2 out of 400 students show up,
Yeah.
you can learn from that and
Yeah.
course correct for the future.
That was my turning point.
Yeah.
In my office, yeah, that kind of thing. And that was pretty much in the latter state. And then at that time I was trying to prep this successor. I really wanted a girl to be the next president and it happened. I was very happy. Akmushak, she was the next president. I don't know experience. After I handed over office, I hid in a cave. I hid myself from everybody just to recover from that trauma. It was a lot. It was a lot. Like
So
yeah.
so any regrets, and after regrets, what do you feel was your biggest accomplishment in that experience?
Yeah, so regrets first. I poorly managed my team in the sense that as a leader, you should play chess with the people you're working with. People have their own personal motivations for doing what they do, and then they have their own strengths and weaknesses. I just put people in places because I trusted them to do the right thing, which was pretty much unfair to them because I was counting on our friendship that they would care and do the right thing. But
Right.
I put them in the position where their weaknesses were more exposed than they actually being strong and learning from that kind of thing. And I learned that the hard way. And then I put some of my friends in very uncomfortable situations and both emotionally, which affected our relationship. But later I was able to fix that. But the point is that understand each team member and then put them in the right place. And I struggled to begin with. So I ended up doing all the work by myself. You know, that kind of thing. I didn't trust them a lot when I gave them the work. So I'll do it again whenever they kind of do it. That was my regret.
I think we run into this with the NGO that
Right.
it's volunteer based. You're not paying anyone, but
Right.
you only have so much manpower, so you can't really base everything on strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
Although that's the ideal situation,
Right.
I feel sometimes that
Just have to do it yourself.
Roy grabs or he grabs one of our volunteers, and he twists their arm so hard that they have to do it. I'm like, but she hates this. You can
Right.
see it in her face. She has no desire to do
Do
this.
this, yeah.
Nobody does, but somebody has to. Who are we going to get? And it's a tough situation as a
Right,
leader.
right.
Where and how do you allocate your resources to best
Exactly.
benefit the group?
Exactly, especially when they are not being paid.
Yeah,
Yeah, in that sense. So, one of the things I was very happy with was I kind of changed the system and I disrupted that Kazakh Central Asian thing because yeah, it was really bad at that time where they felt like the majority and the privilege, whatever that kind of thing. Whenever we had events, we did everything to cater for them, not for everybody, that kind of thing. So in that sense, I really rejuvenated their, shall I say, passions of the minority groups. Everybody was interested. There was some form of unity, which I really loved. And
It was a moment in time, huh?
yeah, that
You
kind
got
of
that.
thing. It was a turning moment, but I'm sure the whole system came falling back down because, like, I'm not sure they even care about the constitution anymore. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think they went back to their old stuff.
You did your part.
I did my part.
Yeah.
So you graduated. What were you studying? And tell us about the transition from or graduating to the unknown. Were you going to go home, or did you always know you were going to work in Korea, or what was that transition time like, and moving into your current position?
Right. So, a little context. I got my job right after I graduated. But before then, I was doing a lot of self session. Like I said, when I handed over, I went to a cave. At that time, I was trying to answer the question, "Who am I? What do I want?" And then academics wasn't a problem. Actually, it was not. It was just straightforward. You know what to do to succeed. That kind of thing. It wasn't much of a problem. But I was really searching like, who is Rene and what is he gonna do in that time. So I was doing a research internship in the lab. I was doing great. I hated it. I hated my God. I would go home every day, look in the mirror, and say, "This is not you. You're not a researcher. You're not a scientist." I hated it. I could have done master's program easily. All I had to do is just ask my professor, "Hey, can I join?" Or
What were you studying?
I was studying biology,
Okay.
biological sciences. I was doing cancer research, drug screening, and whatnot.
Swabbing the desk in the student office. What's this stuff?
So I was doing all that. I hated it. I remember I did an interview with a professor. He gave me a couple of research papers to read so that we can just talk about it. I went home, I threw it away. I hated it. And in the morning of the interview, I just looked at it. Okay, whatever. Here we go. I went there, and the professor, okay, what did you read from the paper? And then I just told him some few words I saw in the paper. And then he was like, "That's it?" And I was like, "Yeah." So that interview actually turned into a lecture of him trying to explain what's in the paper, that kind of thing. So he was so disappointed because my grades were actually very good. That kind of thing was like, and you are researching in this good professor's lab and you couldn't do this. So I could see the disappointment on his face. I was like, whatever, I don't care. That kind of thing. So I left and then I met Razor. Do you know Razor? Some Iranian guy in unit.
Razor?
Razor, yeah.
Oh shit, sounds like a mean dude.
Yeah. So he saw me, I was like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And I was like, "Oh, I came for a graduate school interview." He looked me dead in the eye. He was like, "Don't do it." I was like, this is the universe speaking to me, that kind of thing. I was like, "Where?" So the professor was like, "Oh, he sent me an email. I'm disappointed, but I still think you're a good guy. Just read it." And I was like, "Professor, to be honest, I'm not interested." That kind of thing.
Tough decisions, but sometimes they got to be made.
They got to be made because
And so I think so many people don't. That's the easy way, right?
right.
Just go and do it and endure. It secures your future,
Exactly.
and you're going to be protected and safe.
That's
and
being reactive, right? And I think that's a lot of people go through like, oh, here's an opportunity that someone offered me, not necessarily the one that you want.
You want it, yeah.
That's
That
just
kind of thing.
being reactive, man.
Yeah, so I could have easily transitioned into graduate school research, whatever, but I hated it. I could do it, but I hated it. So I started searching, and then the funny joke I told you earlier, like my tribe, we are known for business. I think that was the
It came
the
out,
wake up
yeah.
call. It was coming out. So business started lurking in the dark, that kind of thing. And then I was like, which opportunity can I use my knowledge, my scientific knowledge, coupled with business, and then I can use that, to make an impact. And then yeah, investments came out.
Very nice.
So in this field, I gotta use my bio background to analyze biotech companies and see how valuable this tech is, and then understand the business, and then put money in there. So that was just like a perfect marriage of the two, that kind of thing. So yeah,
Fantastic.
that was it.
Go for it. I was gonna say your Korean language ability is
Zero.
zero.
Yes, zero.
Whoa. Okay. I thought you were going down the same
Path
road
as-
as Jeshurun. Yeah.
Different. No.
No, because they all went. The guys who speak went to the language training school
Right,
for
right,
a
right.
semester or a year.
So it's very.
No, he came, did 4 years, and he's out.
It's very interesting because this company, it seems like it was made for me.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and they don't need me. They don't need me to speak
Must
Korean.
have been grandma doing the secret black juju there.
I know, right?
In Guyana, mixing
Shout
the
out
pot.
to grandma. Yeah.
Someone's got to explain me a black juju. I only know secret juju.
The black one?
Yeah.
Oh Jesus, it's so powerful, man. Anyway, so
We'll save that for the next episode.
yeah, sure. Yeah, so this company was just right perfect in the sense that they didn't even require me to even have any English, Korean language skills.
Oh wow.
The CEO is fantastic,
Mm.
man. He's so eccentric. He's so, proactive. He's a dreamer, and he doesn't really care about, what people saying, the stereotypes, whatever. He's just about what can you bring on the table, that kind of thing. Yeah. So I really love the company. It gives me a great opportunity, that kind of thing. And then yeah, I'm
paparazzi
truly
over
having
here.
fun.
But
Yeah.
how did you find it? Typically, people, the job application process, the interview, it's grueling and
Yeah.
I don't think just here. Here it's a different level.
Right.
But to get to the second stage how did the opportunity, where did it arise from?
So funny, my high school friend
Joseph.
Joseph in Ghana, he told me to come to Korea, and then he joined this company, and then he didn't like tell me to join the company, but I looked at it, and then he was the one who just made me decide, like this is great for you, that kind of thing. Because in Korean companies, it's just a blur. I have no knowledge about how the system works. I know there's this whole hierarchy kind of thing. So he gave me an inside look of like what is in there, and then I told him, "Hey, bro, I want to join." I was like, "Oh, fantastic! I'm gonna help you." That kind of thing. And funny enough, on the day of my interview, he was actually part of the panel. It was such a weird experience. I had to compose myself because I just wanted to start laughing. Like,
Yeah,
what
This
is
is
going
the
on?
least Korean company I've ever heard of.
Yeah. So my company is so great because it's about what can you bring to the table. They don't really care who you are, that kind of thing.
But even having a group that doesn't require any Korean ability, because that shows something about the way they think and the way they operate.
Right.
Just taking you for who you are, and that you have the abilities, and that they don't hold that over you.
Right. Right. Even the interview was so funny. We didn't even talk about work. He didn't even ask me what do you know about investment, because he understands that you learn as you go. Really. Investments, especially investments.
You like it, you work hard,
sense.
you'll be good.
Yeah. If you're ready to learn and understand how the game goes, you'll be fine. So he didn't spend much time drilling me about knowledge. That kind of thing.
Just before this interview starts, that guy on the panel owes me $20 from last weekend,
I know, right?
and we can start.
But my interview at UNIST, Professor Mitchell was in there, and he had lived in Africa. And he said on your resume here, it says you spent some time in Africa.
Yeah.
He's like, and he asked a question, and we talked about West Africa for like 10 minutes. And the Korean administrator said, and they're like, okay, guys, okay. But he's well respected there.
Right.
And we were chatting and laughing about West Africa.
Yeah.
And yeah, the more experiences you have and the more you can small talk, I mean,
more you can connect. Yeah.
Get it away from the formal questions.
So with the interview, I think one of the things that did impress the CEO was I had a TOEIC score, the perfect TOEIC score.
Wow.
So, yeah. So
That's impressive.
I mean, not to like blow my horn or anything. I didn't take
You've been
it
blowing it
serious.
for 2 hours here.
Oh. yeah, but like
The only guy I know is taking a gap year in grade 3 of elementary school.
I mean, yeah. So UNIS requires you when you're applying, they don't require you for an English test. But when you're graduating, after you've proven that you've been able to study in English for 4 years, they require you to have an English test score.
That's a racket.
I was like, what? So the lady was like, go take it. So I was like, whatever. I just went in.
But hold on. That, for context,
Yeah.
that is because the school is 80% Korean,
Mhm.
and to get jobs in Korean companies, you need a TOEIC score.
Okay.
So if Koreans don't have that score, they're not going to get employed anywhere.
Yeah.
So this is to help them and to help their students and
Okay.
prepare the I believe to prepare the students for the job market, where if they have a 0% employment rate,
Right.
who's going to apply there?
Apply there, yeah, right.
So if they help you get your TOEIC score and you get a good one and you all get jobs, now people are coming. But part of getting that
Right.
job is having the TOEIC score.
Right.
It doesn't apply to you guys, and the
Yeah.
international students always complain about it because their English is usually really good. But I think that's a little background on their
yeah.
backstory.
Well, so I was really upset, and I remember the morning of the test, I called, who was it? Is it Jonas or something? I don't remember who, but he was like, "Oh, you're gonna take the toy score," and I was like, yeah. And I asked him that, what score do you guys usually get? And then he was like, "Oh, about 960, 970," and I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna just get a pass score because I don't even need it, that kind
Yeah.
of thing." And I was like,
Did you
"Yeah,
study for it?
no."
But Koreans must hate you guys.
But in context, I did take a lot of standardized tests, the SATs
Oh,
and
no.
critical reading. So I had already developed that skill a lot
Right.
since I was a kid. So he passed the final comment like, I bet you cannot get a perfect score. And I was like, word? Okay, watch me. So I was pissed. This guy thinks I cannot get a perfect score. So I took everything too seriously again. And then, yeah, I got a perfect. So when I got, I was like, in your face, bro. That kind of thing. And yeah, that was it. So I didn't even think of it. I just put it back somewhere. So on the resume, he was like, "Hey, you got a perfect score on the toy."
Hire him now.
And I was like, "Wow, life, right?" Like, and I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "He has never seen anybody like that." And I was like, to be honest, it's nothing special. I even English is the only language I can speak and write and whatever. So it's nothing special to me, that kind of thing. So don't worry about it. He was like, but still it's perfect. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. And that's how we clicked from that time. So
Nice.
yeah. Very interesting.
Was it an open call for employees, or
I think it
or
was.
did Joseph say, "Hey, he wants to hire. He knows I got some buddies. He likes me." I mean, for one thing, he must do a really good job there
Right.
for the boss to trust him to refer a friend.
Right.
I mean,
Paving
if
the
he
road.
said no, and then he might just say, "My friend's got 100% on the TOEIC score." Okay, bring him in.
So
But I mean, Joseph must have laid a pretty good foundation there, and
he's doing an amazing job there. It's crazy. I think he's one of our most respected employees. He's doing an amazing job. So that counts. But it was an open call for employees. He just said, "Hey guys, hey, this is the perfect time to hop in." And actually it was that kind of thing. And then yeah. Pretty much I hopped on the train.
that's awesome.
He's hooking up friends.
That's how it goes, right? I mean,
Right.
Smarty was here and he plowed the road for
Right.
just Ghanaians at UNIST,
Right.
and then it was Ghanaians making girlfriends, and then it was Ghanaians making Korean girlfriends,
Right.
and now he's married to a Korean, isn't he? She's not Korean?
I cannot confirm or deny anything.
Well, he just got married, didn't he?
I don't think he's married. I think we spoke earlier this year, but actually he's dating an American girl now.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, he paved the road, and then it was the Ghanaian guys going to Busan and traveling and getting
Exactly,
jobs and teaching
exactly.
English, and
Right.
so you guys are all paving the road for those that come
Exactly.
after you.
Exactly.
That's good for. It sounds like the Ghanaian group is quite connected, but I know you went to a meeting, and I was talking to Ebby, who's part of the Ulsan Code Camp run by Ben and Andre and Kyungsup Choi, who we had on here a few weeks ago, and she was at the meeting with Nate, and ironically, Nate seems to be the center of the of the African community.
He came. He stopped
came
in
as
for
well.
5 minutes, made his
Okay.
cameo appearance
Oh,
there.
man.
He just came for the lunch.
No.
VIP
No,
lunch.
no, no.
Pizza.
I actually came up to drop the boys and actually decided not to come because I knew my schedule couldn't allow. But when Nate came, I was like, oh man, I gotta go see Nate.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of thing. So yeah, that's what.
But
Yeah.
has anything come of that yet? I know
Not
Ebby
yet.
was
I got to talk to these guys more.
Ebby
But
was looking to create a platform that
That'll be great.
connected everyone.
That'll be
that
great.
was a Korean African Youth Forum.
Mm.
Yeah.
And anyways, more power in numbers. I think you guys got to get on it. And
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you're interested in that or not, but that's a different discussion maybe.
Yeah.
Tell us a little more. I don't know how much time we don't have much time left maybe, but tell us a little more about the company culture and stuff. I have a certain impression of Korean company culture. You've just completely destroyed that.
Destroy that. Yes.
What is it? Clearly, it doesn't follow the same hierarchy that most Korean
Right.
companies do.
Right.
What are your intentions? Are you trying to climb the ladder? Or are you trying to just get your feet wet and get something for your resume and a stepping stone? Or is this possibly a career?
Yes, it is a career. I made this decision because it made me happy. At that time, like I said, I was searching myself. I wouldn't have made this decision if I didn't feel like I was happy with it. So long term, yes, I'm gonna be here. I think I'm gonna
I
be
want to be
here.
here.
I'm very happy with the company. It's not a regular company, like I said earlier. There is hierarchy, of course, in the sense that the person who is more responsible, who is more productive, who is more of a leader within the group is the one who's should have more power, I guess. Yeah, if I put it that way, in that sense. The level playing ground is leveled. It's leveled. There is no advantage to everybody. It's just based on your passion, your hard work, and then you're honored for that. Totally. And
Which is why you like it.
which is why I love it
Yeah.
because that was one of my main headaches. So I remember after the interview, the CEO was like, "Do you have any question?" And I was like, "I want you to tell me very honestly, how is it like to work here?" And he started laughing. He was like, "I'm the boss. If I tell you, you think I'm lying, that kind of thing." And I was like, "Anybody could answer." And they were like, "Yeah,
But they lie all the time.
yeah, they
All
lied."
the time.
But it wasn't a lie in the sense.
No.
They were quite truthful. They're like, "Hey, here, nobody cares who you are. They care about what you do."
Right.
Yeah.
But in comparison, I was training a 26, 27-year-old young woman, and she was applying to lots of jobs for international companies.
Right.
She originally thought I'd like to work abroad, but then she thought maybe I can work international company in Korea and get that experience and then move abroad.
Okay.
Because not many people willing to take a chance on just a random Korean in international office.
Right.
So she got a decent job and signed the contract and everything, and they promised her A, and they delivered Z. She's there 12 hours a day. She works Saturdays, Sundays, no time off. And she sent me one a couple days ago, maybe a week ago. Hey, Nate, I just got an email from Amazon. They want me to come for an interview. And I was like, huh? Where did they find you? How did they? And it came from, what's that say? LinkedIn. And they saw what I'm doing and this and that, and my scores like you. And I thought, well, go, because it sounds like you absolutely hate that job that you thought was. But there's no job market for a 26, 27-year-old. It's so hard. She's educated. She did her studies in Toronto.
Wow.
But it's so hard to get in. I said, you're going to almost have to just take anything to get some experience and endure the, I don't know if abuse is the right word, but abusive company culture of Korea to get that experience that might allow to open some doors for something else. So I'm glad to hear that you don't have to do any of that stuff.
Yeah, I'll be quite blessed, I would say.
How big is the company? Is there opportunity for advancement or?
Oh yeah, so yes, right now, since I joined the company this year, we opened the Berlin office in Germany. So we have offices in Singapore. We had one in China before Corona hit, and then it was shut down. Yeah, we have I think 5 offices in Korea. So we are definitely growing. I see great potential in the company, that kind of thing, and the company culture is also great. I think, which is gonna propel, especially if it wants to move on to the global stage. Because if you use a Korean system on the global stage, it's gonna crash. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
What's the ratio of foreign employees to nationals?
Currently it's just Joseph and I. And
How big is the
and
company? How many employees are there?
oh,
Hundreds?
plus all the global offices, we are looking at about 40 people.
40 people.
Yeah.
But even the office in Berlin and Singapore, it's all Koreans?
No. Berlin, Germans, Singaporeans,
Okay.
mostly, and then Korea and Koreans.
Okay.
Mostly, yeah.
So what do you see as the next 3 years, 5 years? What's the future? Do you hope to move?
He's got an inside line on the coronavirus.
Do you hope to move to one of those international offices, or is that a possible move or no?
That's a possible move depending on the need at that time. But and also currently we are expanding globally, so probably there will be an
Ghana
opportunity.
office coming soon?
Sadly we don't have a lot of tech in Ghana, so anyways, yeah, so if the need be, but right now I'm in Korea. I'm having a great time here. I wouldn't want to move, but I don't really put emphasis on where I am. It's pretty much what I'm
Where-
doing. You know what I mean? So if what I'm doing will take me where I'm supposed to go, I don't
Right.
care.
But you're pretty driven and goal oriented. So can you fulfill those just staying here within the one office here, or is it
No.
going to the office in Seoul maybe? Or I don't mean for location, I mean for fulfilling your desire to do more and to be more.
So our job, we don't need to be geographically present, especially with these
Right.
Zoom and whatnot.
Sure.
So whatever I want to do, I can do it here
From down.
from
Yeah.
down here. Yeah.
Well, you're saying it's
That's awesome.
The rent or whatever is it doesn't put that huge strain on
Burden.
you, man.
Exactly.
And then you can focus on other things in life. If you don't have that 10% of your brain, like how am I going to pay the bills? What am I going to do? You know, that's you
Exactly.
can
Rent,
dedicate that
student
to.
loans.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You're laughing,
Made
man.
some good decisions.
You've made it already.
Oh no, I wouldn't say that. So yeah, definitely. Even this year, I've spoken to about like 4 companies in France and Germany and whatnot, writing down though. So I
And
don't need to. Yeah,
and what would be the promotional track?
it's just the number of investments you execute, the work you do, that kind of thing. And our company is very true to that.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter how long you've been there. What matters is how much you're doing. Very
So
true.
if you got scouted from a bigger company, would you stay loyal to this one because this is what gave you the opportunity in your start and your foundation, or would you take the jump for, what's seen as a greener pasture?
Yeah. Personally, I feel like growth and success for me is happiness. If I'm happy, I'm fine. I'm pretty low maintenance. I don't need a lot of care. But the point is that I think that my leadership truly do care about me as an individual. So if it's a chance for me to grow, I'm sure they're gonna support that. But currently, I'm a learning investor, right? So and they've given me this opportunity. So I'm not even thinking about, that right now. It
Mm.
sounds crazy as like a long-term person, but I want to take it one step at a time in the sense. And being a great investor really going to a greener pasture or going to a bigger firm means they have more connections, they have more like mentoring and those kind of things. Even if I wouldn't have it in this company, it's not something it's something I can get. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's something I can get
Yeah.
still
Right.
in that sense. So what a bigger company will offer me probably would be more money, more connection, more platform,
Right.
maybe more fame, I think. But I don't need that. Should I say no? I do, but like I'm saying, you can still get that with this opportunity you
Right.
got, and that's it. And I see a lot of potential in this company. So surely, if I stick and stay, I'm sure this company is going to be as great as
There's something about making it on your own, right, and making it yourself, as opposed to just joining the already made.
Right.
There's a certain pride or
Being a part of the rising. Huh?
Right.
Awesome.
That makes the story way cooler too, right?
yeah. And I don't mean it's easy to join the successful places, but it is
Yes.
compared to making your own and growing it from the ground up.
Right.
It's a lot different. Well, it must be a really good feeling when you say, "I'm sure if I do well, they'll take care of me and they'll promote me and whatever," because
Right.
that's not the case for most people around the world.
Right.
And that must be a really good feeling and comfort to have, especially living in a foreign land
Right.
and
Right.
being black and
Yeah.
all the other things that you have to go through. That must be
It's truly amazing. It's truly amazing.
Mm.
Like I really feel taken care of in the company. I really do.
Good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Sounds like you're on the path to success, or you've already made it, man. You
Yeah.
define success as happiness.
As happiness.
As happiness.
I don't money. I've come to a place where like money is great. It makes life easy, but it comes with its trouble. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? If you're not truly happy, you're gonna be sick. I think Because when I wake up every day,
The examples are all around us.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
day, watch the news or read the Hollywood celebrity.
Exactly.
It's all around us, man.
Exactly. So every time I wake up going to work, I'm like, oh, cool, what am I gonna do today? Oh, what's up today? I check my emails. I'm like, okay, great, I'm gonna do this. I'm not like, oh shit,
Yeah.
it's Monday. That kind of I don't.
Yeah.
Even on the weekends, I work because I'm more intrigued. I'm trying to learn. And
That's what
learn.
I think our wives don't understand. When we sit down at our computer or something, or we're doing something for We Hope, it's because we really want to.
We want
It's not because I hate it. It's because I love doing this.
Yeah.
And we don't go out drinking and we don't go partying anymore.
Right.
And when we do our volunteer work or we do this, and she's like, "What time?" 7. She's like, "You're crazy." I'm like,
Right.
"But if we love it, we do it."
we do it.
And that's why when you said, "Yeah, any early morning's fine," I was like, "How early, buddy?" 'Cause he's up at like 4:30 or something. Like, hey, I can get up anytime because this is what I like to do.
Right.
So
Right. And that's it.
a little bit off topic, but a little bit related. Have you seen the BTS thing going on?
Yeah.
BTS gave a shout out to the American and the Korean soldiers who died fighting for the freedom during the Korean War.
Right.
And the head guy made it as part of a speech accepting an award in the States. And China said, "Hey, you're leaving out our dead soldiers."
Right.
Have you seen this?
No, I've not seen
So
it.
China fought with or backed North Korea during the Korean War, and China said, "Hey, what about us?" And they're like, "Do we have to praise our opposition's dead soldiers?" Like,
Right.
no, we're free. We're Korea now because America fought with us, and this is why we are Korea and the free Korea.
Right.
Anyways, China ended up putting a lot of pressure on, and now it's to the point where China told Samsung, Hyundai, and Fila, the 3 major sponsors of BTS, that if they don't stop supporting them, they can't do business in China.
Whoa.
So here's the guy
That's
on
a
BTS, the leader, and they got a lot of they got a huge platform. They got a lot of responsibility now. They got to be careful what they say.
What they say.
And
yeah.
he says, we wouldn't be here without. He was in America accepting an award from the Korean Association of something for their contributions to Korean American relations.
Yeah.
And he said he gave a shout out to the American fallen soldiers who sacrificed for Korea's freedom, and to the Korean soldiers. And China says, "Hey, they felt embarrassed that he didn't recognize them." And why do I have to? You were with North Korea. Why would I?
Yeah.
And China says, "Okay, Samsung, Hyundai, Fila, cut them off or don't do business here." And apparently they have. I got to read more about it. Yeah. And
Yeah.
and now it's China can run the world this way, which is
Right.
scary. And America does the TikTok thing, and China goes, "Hey, whoa, no, we're using your game against you."
Right.
So
right.
here's these guys with all the money in the world. They can't ask for any more success. But I don't want to say suicide, but in Korean culture, this guy's having a devastating effect now in Korea
Right.
because of this. And like the Samochiri thing, you either have to say sorry or it costs your career.
Right.
So Samsung, Hyundai, they say, "Okay, BTS, sorry guys, can't do it anymore," or it costs them all their business in China. And this poor guy was doing the right thing, and now he's going to be, oh my God, I just can't believe the
blowback from.
Oh my God, man.
Speaking of TikTok, have you seen the buddy on the skateboard
No.
listening to Fleetwood Mac, drinking
Another
the
great story.
cranberry juice? But just if we could all take a page out of that guy's life, he seems to have, a very difficult job, almost nothing, almost no assets. Truck breaks down, he jumps on his skateboard and he's just cruising home. He has a 2-liter bottle of cranberry juice. Man, he just looks so free in that moment,
Right.
and so free from everything. And I think, I don't know, man, we should all.
Yeah. I think one of the greatest gifts in life is to do what you love and get paid for it.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the greatest.
I don't know whose quote it is, but they said if you do what you like and you do it passionately, it'll become your life and your job.
Right.
And if you like taking pictures and you keep doing it, it will make enough money for you. Either
Right.
you'll be teaching it or selling it, or
Right.
as long as you do it with all your heart, it doesn't matter if you say, "I want to be a poet," do it all in.
Yeah.
and eventually it will pay off for you, and you'll either be a poetry teacher or a writer, or instead of just how many of us take the job because we need the money to do what? To get where?
If you're not actively trying to seek money and praise, both will end up finding you. I think in the end. Yeah.
Listen, I got a ton of more questions for you, but I think we probably have enough time clocked for today.
Yeah.
There's so many other things I want to ask you about, and I know you're part of the music guys and the church and the influence it has.
Yeah.
Some of your mentors and the African community here. You're planning to stay long term.
Yeah.
Where you see yourself? Would you take an active role again, not as the UNIST or the UNIST International Student President, but an active role of representing Africans in maybe the southern part of the country, which doesn't seem to have a lot of leadership? Is that something you'd be interested in or not? I have 100 other questions for you. I think this was awesome. I had a really good time. But would you be willing to come back for another round?
Yeah.
Depends how breakfast is.
Oh no. I mean, I don't see myself as like some successful guy everybody should learn about, but I think everybody has their own unique story that we can truly learn.
That's it.
You know what I mean.
But that humbleness is the thing that's going to carry you, man.
Right.
Staying.
But this is part of what we like, just sharing stories.
Exactly.
And everybody has a different story. And how many people don't know about the unique and amazing individuals in this just city,
right,
or in Korea, or in Gyeongsang-namdo? Right. There's so many awesome people, and even so many people that we interview on here that I think I know well. And then I'm like, holy shit! Yeah. I only knew like the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to you, and that's why this is a really cool opportunity for us. You mentioned the tribe many times. I'd love to hear more about the tribe and get a little bit more into that little black magic. So we got lots of other topics. If you're willing to stop by again, we can get on some of those.
Absolutely. We'll have Sunday morning sessions.
Just give me a time and date.
Awesome. Fantastic. Dude, thanks for coming in. Guys, I hope everyone enjoyed. We'll talk to you soon.